Lindsay again with another Spotlight video. I'm really excited to have Alyssa St.Pierre from our EHS team with me as we talk all about LEED certification. So, hi Alyssa, welcome.
Thanks for
Could
having
you
me.
just introduce yourself and how long you've been here?
Sure. So yeah, my name is Alyssa St.Pierre. I'm the EHS Specialist, so that's Environmental Health and Safety, and I have an unofficial extra S at the end of my name for sustainability, which I think is why we're here today.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk all about LEED. Some of you may know and some of you might not know that we just became LEED Silver certified within the past month or two?
Yeah, in April.
Wow, so really soon. So we're just going to talk a little bit about that and how we got to this process, and then some of our employees actually submitted some questions that they wanted to ask you about it. So first, can we start with what is LEED?
Yeah, so LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It is a green building certification that is administered by the U.S. Green Building Council. And it is a framework that was developed from a bunch of different experts in the sustainability field to ask people what makes a building green. And there's different sets of criteria for different types of buildings. So ours is the operations and maintenance, which is designed for existing buildings. There's also building design and construction for new buildings. There's requirements for apartments, and actually single-family homes too. So there's different criteria for all these different things. The system is to take a look at a holistic view of how the building impacts the environment in the world around it. So your community impact, your energy efficiency, the way you maintain your land, all that stuff is encompassed in the rating system that they use.
Wow, that's a lot. Seems like there's many factors that goes into that. So that's really cool. So why is it important for coopervision to be LEED certified?
Yeah, so LEED is one of the elements that they use when they look at our environmental social governance impact. LEED is one of the things that they use to quantify our impact for environmental social governance, ESG. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, I see the ESG report comes out every so often.
Yeah, so we've been putting that report out for the past 3 years now, and it's just a way to quantify like how good a company is. So it looks like at your environmental impact, things you might expect like your waste and if you pollute. It looks at your social impact, so how involved your employees feel in the workplace, and do you have like an impact on the community. So we ended up doing like a couple of service projects last year. We did the beach cleanup. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, finding all those things that were discarded. It was very interesting.
Yeah, tires and saws. It was something else. And for the governance aspect of the ESG, that's the way the company is run. So business ethics and things that happen at the way top, just to make sure that we're in a good way. So that's why we want to make sure that our buildings are LEED certified.
So Alyssa, are other sites certified, and if not, do you think that maybe they'll jump on board like Henrietta?
Yeah, it's something that we would like all of our sites to be certified in. So Scottsville earned theirs last year for their silver certification. Costa Rica has gold certification, which is awesome because they're more designed for that, and with the humid temperatures down there, they have these really cool cooling systems for their building. Puerto Rico, they also have silver, I believe, and they are exploring this in the UK, so I've been talking to a couple of the people over there to see what resources they need to start navigating the system, because it's, as we noticed, it's pretty complicated.
Now, when Scottsville got certified last year for their silver, did you guys partner, or did you guys pass on any tips from one site to another, even just locally, about how to obtain your silver certification here in West End?
Yeah, so they started their process, I think, a few years before us, and so they were certifying under a slightly different set of criteria. We ended up doing version 4.0, which doesn't matter too much anymore because 4.1 is coming out. But we were able to exchange some best practices, and they were a good test case for us to learn what needs to really happen.
Well, that's good. It's good. It's bringing in those coopervision values of being partners and working together.
Absolutely.
And maybe inventive. Maybe they're sharing some really cool ideas. So I want to know, what did we excel at this location?
Yeah, so two of the things we did really well at were waste management and indoor air quality. So for waste management, you might have noticed that we have an obscene amount of cardboard that leaves our facility.
Yes.
You may not know this, but we have almost around 1% of the waste that leaves our building only goes to landfill. The rest of it either gets recycled or gets composted from our cafeteria composting program, or it gets burned as waste to energy for the things that we can't really recycle, like our lenses. Those get destroyed as waste to energy, and just our normal trash. So they really appreciated how well we kept our records for all of our waste, and they enjoyed seeing how much waste we generate.
So we did excel at that.
Mhm.
And you know, I know that like you guys have run surveys, and like I helped a lot of people fill out the transportation survey,
Yes.
and all of that helped achieve that certification, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So for the alternative transportation credit, they wanted to know all that information about you so that we could see like how many or how much of an impact our employees coming to work has on the environment. So that was all really helpful, and we'll be repeating those surveys I think it's every 2 years for the alternative transportation survey.
Nice. That's exciting.
Mhm.
And as you know, the car industry, the battery industry, all of that is ever changing.
Absolutely.
You never know, maybe we might have more people get electric vehicles, and maybe we'll have to
Yeah.
add new chargers and things like that. Or maybe we'll get a bus line out here, like
Oh, that would
directly
be the
here.
Yeah,
I don't know who
that.
we need to talk to in the city of Rochester to make that happen.
Yeah, they're the closest you can get if you want to take a bus to work. There's the on-demand system which you can use, and you would take a normal bus to Marketplace Mall, and then you could schedule an on-demand bus to go to the Wendy's down there. And from there, you're on your own if you have a bike or something, but that can get you pretty close.
Yeah, that's definitely very close.
Mhm.
Very interesting. And I live in the city,
Mhm.
and I've seen a lot of electric buses
Yeah.
start to pop up more and more. So they
Mhm.
continue to get new buses and new technology. So
Good.
never say never. So I would like to know the timeline and process since you like started processing for your LEED certification. Can you share a little bit about that?
Mhm. Yeah, so I joined the company in late 2020, and by the time I was here, the process was already in motion. So that started with a gap analysis, where we worked with a consultant, M&E Engineering, M/E, M&E. And they had this big old rubric that they used to say, like, do you have this, that, and the other thing, just figure out where we're at. And from there, we developed a bunch of site policies that say, this is how we purchase things, this is what we recycle and how we recycle it. We have certain criteria for our pest control policies and indoor air quality and managing our air systems. That process took quite some time because we had to make sure that our policies met all of their requirements. From there, for the things that we already had in place, so a lot of our best practices were already compliant with that. For the things that weren't, we gathered the information that we needed to, we set up the contracts that we had to improve those procedures that we didn't have already. In February of 22, we started our 6-month monitoring period, and that was like go time for us, where we had to make sure we had all of our purchase records all in one place and all of our salt usage all in one place, and yeah, they even looked at our parking lots for salts. So
Wow. Oh my gosh. So that's very, very time consuming.
yeah, that was pretty much all I did for quite some time. And I got a big old spreadsheet for it, but during that 6-month monitoring period, we were keeping all those records and such. At the end of that, we turned over all of the stuff to M&E, where they assembled our application for us and made sure that all the boxes were checked, and there was a bit of back and forth, like if there were any gaps. And then in October of 2022, our application was officially submitted, and then it took the association, the U.S. Greenback Building Council, a little while to review the application. We had one round of revisions or questions from them, where they were like just asking more things of us.
Yeah.
We had that finished, and then yeah, in April we had our certification. So it was about a 3-year process.
Wow. And how long is the certification good for?
So this is good for 5 years, but that doesn't mean we get a break. We have to make sure that we document that we continue to comply with these things, and some of our policies had ongoing improvement plans.
Mhm.
So we have a site improvement plan for the exterior of the building where we're looking at, some of them are easy things to do, like putting up our bee hotels and expanding our community garden, doing the wildflower garden for the native wildflowers for pollinators.
Oh, nice.
And then some things are a little more lofty, like we would like to put a walking path around the exterior of the
Yeah,
facility.
that would be so lovely.
Yeah, well, it's safer and it's nicer for people to walk on, and I'm sure with the building being as huge as it is,
Mhm.
people will want to like walk on the outside rather than passing through the interior.
Yeah. When you get that breath of fresh air
Definitely.
and hear the birds,
Yeah.
and even though we're right by the thruway, it's
Mhm.
still nice, with that little marshy area that there is between the road and the building. It's still nice.
Mhm.
Change of scenery during the day.
Absolutely.
Wow, I didn't realize it was basically took 3 years to kind of do all that.
Mhm.
Can you get audited by chance?
So there's no auditing procedures or expectations for this, but keeping diligent records between now and when it comes time to recertify
Mhm.
will make the process that much easier. So we'll keep acting as if we'll be audited, but there's no risk about it.
So we talked about the different levels of certification. So we are currently silver,
Yep.
but is it our goal of ours to become like gold or platinum and make our way up there, or are we just safe where we are right now?
Well, since this building wasn't really designed with energy efficiency in mind, it's kind of a tin can, right? And as time goes on, the U.S. Green Building Council changes their criteria to make it more stringent over time. So if we thought it was difficult now, the next one will be more stringent on the things we must do. So our goal is to maintain silver, and when it comes time to recertify, we'll have energy data for the whole building, not just the existing portion right now.
Mhm.
And that will make our application that more robust, but we'll want to keep an eye on what those new requirements are for, I think 4.1 will be the criteria we will certify under next. We'll want to keep an eye on what those are so that we can kind of prepare ahead of time for when it comes time to recertify.
So let's say CooperVision got so big, and even with our expansion, we can't grow anymore. We basically took over the whole block, and we can buy land somewhere else and build from the ground up.
Mhm.
Do you think that the builders and everyone that makes those decisions would take LEED into consideration, like LEED, like Costa Rica? Do you think that, maybe we're dreaming, right? We're dreaming that this is going to happen, but do you think they would take that in consideration if we do build a new building?
I would hope so. I think there's some certain changes that would certainly make it easier, but they're like the building design and construction criteria are very different from the criteria that we certified under here. So honestly, haven't really looked at them at all.
Yeah.
I was really focusing on this, but yeah, I think one of the challenges we had was that since we are a warehouse and packaging center, the criteria for a warehouse are different than if you have manufacturing. So since we had all that extra manufacturing energy draw and all the extra waste and stuff, we had to kind of make a case to say, like, we're really just a warehouse with a couple of these machines, and had to kind of explain why our energy usage is so high compared to other warehouses.
Yeah.
So they compare your building type to other of the same building type.
So kind of like a house, like you're in a market, you're looking to sell, they look at
Mhm.
comps in the area,
Yep,
kind
yep.
of the same concept, a little bit different.
Exactly.
But what can an employee do to help ensure we remain certified, if there's anything?
Yeah, so one of the things we earned credits for, we got an innovation credit for this. It's kind of like a wild card credit, but for our composting program, they thought that was great and that our program surrounding that was awesome. So we want to make sure that the compost that we give them is really high quality. Take the time to sort your stuff out. We also have a green team that's pretty new. We've taken over managing the garden, and we're also working on other sustainability and waste reduction projects. And that team is also the one putting on the animal supply drive
Yay.
going on.
Animals.
Yeah. And that's actually what we're partnering with Impact Earth. They do like a monthly drive for different organizations in the area. And so this month they were like, yeah, we're doing our animal supply drive. If you want to participate, let us know. So we put out a couple buckets and we've already gotten some stuff collected.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's going to the end of the month, or like mid next month,
Yeah,
correct?
mid-June, yeah.
Mid-June. So there's still plenty of time to get your donations in for the cats and dogs in the greater Rochester area. Or is it Monroe County, or would you still consider that kind of?
I think it's for the Ontario County shelter. Yeah.
Still under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really exciting. So continue to compost, complete your trainings. And you know, I always think about this. There's a bottle of hand sanitizer in this cafeteria and has a big red sticker that says that this is not part of LEED. Please do not reorder. So will we see more of those types of stickers on anything else, or are we in a good place right now that we all are aware of this?
So one of the challenges we had was with our purchasing credit. So we didn't end up earning the purchasing credit for the ongoing consumables. That's stuff like office paper, hand sanitizer, soaps, and things like that, because we didn't know at the time that that included KCups, which of course we know people drink a lot of coffee around here. So that includes food. So we didn't end up earning that credit, and so that's not necessarily relevant anymore, but we do still encourage green purchasing practices for things that are not process related.
Yeah, that's surprising about the K-Cups because we do recycle them, you know. Although they are still plastic, they contain plastic, but they are, I'm assuming after, you know, the bin gets full, we mail it out, and then it's brought to a process company. And then they're probably opened up, the grounds are discarded, probably composted, and then the plastic maybe turning to waste. So you would think that that would be like, hey, we're doing this, you know, would work, but.
Yeah, their criteria for food was like if it's locally sourced, which I don't know where this stuff's coming from, or like if it's organic, like rainforest certified, all that kind of green stuff. That's what they were looking for if you were going to serve food. Like if we had a cafeteria, they would want to know that, oh, a local vendor provided the vegetables in your vegetable soup, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really complicated.
Yeah, so it was a lot to try to attempt to track all that. But
so it wasn't a disappointment that that didn't happen for you guys?
It wasn't entirely unexpected.
Yeah. Maybe they need to loosen the reins on their criteria on that a little bit.
Well, I mean, K-Cups are kind of finicky too. That it's like, are they green? Should we just brew a pot of coffee and get some creamer? I don't know.
I know. People are very sensitive about their coffee around here, so.
Oh, you.
Now, will there be any noticeable changes around the facility now that we are officially certified?
So the changes that occurred because of the certification kind of already happened and mostly happened in the background. We will be getting a plaque to put on the wall. It'll be about this big and silver, but our changes were mostly like with the way that we manage things on the back end, and not too much that would be visible, no. But if you have any recommendations or ideas on how we can reduce waste or make things more efficient, those are always going to be welcome from not only like a process standpoint for like reducing costs, but for a sustainability standpoint too. That's one of the things that is being driven from like the top down to say like you need to do more sustainable stuff. So you're the ones doing your jobs all day and you have the best ideas to what opportunities there are to make stuff better. So definitely communicate that, like make a WIS, or just email me, text me, send me a picture of like this is broken, or I mean that's more safety stuff, but
still still in the same wheelhouse. You get the point that you know, if you think that we could do better, we might be able to do better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's over the past years I've really noticed a lot of organizations becoming more green, not just coopervision. I mean Wegmans, when they stopped their plastic bags, I feel like they took a big turnaround on green, being green and recycling and being in the community more. And I just feel like it's become, people are starting to care about the environment a little bit more now.
I think so. Yeah, I know at least like with the plastic bag thing, that was like a regulation I think from the state. But yeah, with the environmental social governance, ESG, that's what a lot of investors are looking at. So I hate to tie it back to like the business case for it, but it is good for the business and good for the planet to do all this sustainability stuff.
And you know, you and I talked off camera, and I had a question about tax credits. So a lot of companies may do things in order just to get a tax credit. Not saying coopervision is like that, but I asked you if being LEED certified gives us a tax credit, and you said no, that you didn't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any sort of tax incentive for this. I know that like reducing our energy use isn't usage has cost benefits, but in terms of a tax incentive, there's none that I'm aware of that we're seeking out for this. So this is purely, it's something that has costed the business a good amount of money, paying the consultant and changing some of our practices that are more expensive, but they're more green. So that's an investment that the company is willing to make.
Yeah. Well, I think that we can all do our part by, whether we're carpooling, we're recycling, we're composting, or we're just keeping the environment in mind. And there's one thing that you have at the bottom of your signature that just makes me chuckle and it makes me smile. Will you tell them what it is?
So you know how on emails they'll say like, please don't print this. And mine, I took it from a colleague across the pond, but it'll say like, please consider the environment before printing this email. And I did a strike through before printing this email, and I said before doing anything. So yes, please consider it before you do anything, because a lot of the times the things that we do have effects that we don't necessarily recognize off the first time.
And I think a lot of times we're just in a rush, or we're just not thinking, so just being more mindful.
Yep.
Being more mindful of our environment, our facility, the animals, the things you throw out at beaches. Like, we found a saw. I forgot what else. Tons of stuff.
Yeah, I think there was a tire maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's thousands of cigarette butts. We counted every one for this form we filled out.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
There was a lot of cigarette butts, and you're like, here's another one. But we needed a bigger box when marking what we found because it was just so many. And that's things that we walk over every day. We see people throw outside in the window, you know what I mean? So just being mindful.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Alyssa. Congratulations on helping achieve the certification. I know that you took a lot of this, but I'm sure you had help from James and maybe even Lauren if she was here.
Yeah, Laura wasn't here at the time, but we also partnered with so many different departments too, purchasing, facilities, should I shout out engineering? They helped us out a lot too. So yeah, it's a facility-wide thing, so everybody has to get involved.
Yes. So good partnership, one of our values, partners. But thank you for taking time to talk about LEED. We saw it with the surveys, we heard all about it. So now we are putting our certification to bed and that we achieved it for at least the next 5 years. So congratulations to everyone who helped make this possible. And thank you, Alyssa, for talking about this. And I know it's one of your passions, just the environment and, health and safety. So thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you on the next video. Bye.